Let's go. Public Enemy #1 has released. Go and get that at IamCoachColin.com. But let's get right to it. This is episode 476, the Soul Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. Let's get right into it. It's Joe Rogan and Gad Saad. I called him Glad Saad last episode because I was like, there's no way his name is Gad and Saad. No way. So I corrected myself. Sorry about that. Let's get right into it. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that it's possible that you and the people close to you have a biological connection to the people you want to see in office? Do you think that somehow there is some biological connection to you and Trump, if you're a Trump person, to you and RFK Jr., to you and Biden, if you're insane? Do you think that there is some kind of connection to people and the political system? There very well might be. In this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he is sitting down with Gad, and Gad says something very interesting. Very, very interesting. And they're talking in the context of sports. But I wanna tempt you to start thinking about this in the political realm and elsewhere in your life, where you could be too connected to certain things. Let's get right into it. Before I do that, of course, I have to bring you to IamCoachColin.com. Check it on out. The newest collection, Public Enemy #1. Let's get a close-up of this t-shirt. It's beautiful. The cricket connoisseur himself. I'm definitely going to make a shirt of that. Cricket connoisseur. Public Enemy #1. That's on IamCoachColin.com. That's the certified pure blood, unjabbed and proud. If you want 10% off of any purchase that you see on that website, please put in the discount code area. I am Coach Colin. That's all one letter. It's all capital letters, and there's one L in the Colin, and that'll get you 10% off. Big purchases, small purchases, any purchase. Go ahead and use that. And if you've already done that, thank you so much. You are much, much appreciated. Now let's get into this clip.
December 18th, 2022 World Cup final. You talk about the power, the emotional power of sports, right? My family and I were sitting and watching the World Cup final, and we had the extent to which we were emotionally vested in Messi winning the World Cup can only demonstrate the beauty of sports, right? Because here's a guy that, right, we've never met him.
Right.
We're not Argentinian. Right? He doesn't know that we're alive.
Right.
And yet it's life and death for us that he should. I mean, it was so harrowing. I don't know if you watched the game, that at one point my son, who's 11 years old, said, I can't watch this anymore. I'm going to have a heart attack. That's the power of sports, that it can pull us in and it can make us truly tribal. And in my case, before you interject, it was kind of driven, my desire for him to win was driven by really a purity strand. It was that it seemed cosmically unjust for the greatest soccer player of all time to not have won the World Cup. So when he won it, to me, it seemed like the world is right. Beauty has won.
I get it.
Look at
That's
this guy.
awesome.
And I should add, what a guy, right? Humble, sweet, family man.
What's fascinating to me is, as happy as they are, the people on the other team that were rooting for their team, they're devastated right now.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about sports. You can get so attached to what's happening that a loss is like really a loss.
Yeah.
Can't believe we fucking lost to Kansas City.
Well, in my first book ever, 2007, Evolutionary Basic Consumption, I talk about studies, not my studies, I was citing other works, that looked at what happens to the testosterone levels of fans as a function of whether their team wins or loses. Of course,
how do you test that?
Well, it's been tested. You just take salivary assays of fans as their team is winning or losing.
You can get the testosterone levels from that?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so now what? It's not surprising, as you would know as a fighter, that if you and I fight and you defeat me, your testosterone level goes up, my testosterone level goes down.
Like a video game.
Except what's happening here is that there is a vicarious endocrinological response. The fans are having the same increases in their testosterone levels or decreases as a function of their team winning or not. That's quite extraordinary. And that shows you why we become so bonded to our favorite players and so on. We are really going through this battle with them.
Yeah, it's really the case with fighters. When people have a fighter that they're really a giant fan of and that person gets beaten in a devastating manner, it's heartbreaking.
There's even studies, by the way, that have looked at what happens to sexual behavior of fans after their team wins or loses. So if let's say if your wife is upset that you haven't been producing in the bedroom, she should pray that the husband's favorite team wins, because if he wins, he has an increase in testosterone level, increases their libidinal drive, and so we're animals.
It's just attaching so much of your own emotions to something completely out of control and just rooting on it.
Exactly. But do you have a fan in any sport where you've ever been that vested in?
Well, there was one time I remember when I was a kid. I was a giant fan of Donald Curry. Donald Curry was the welterweight boxing champion at the time, and he had a rivalry with this other guy, Milt McCrory. And Donald Curry knocked him out. He became like my favorite boxer. And then Donald Curry, he got beat by this guy, Lloyd Hunnigan. It was a devastating loss. Like, people couldn't believe Lloyd Hunnigan beat Donald Curry. And it was like Donald Curry might be on the downslide, but I was still like a giant fan of his. And then Donald Curry fought Mike McCallum. And Mike McCallum hit him with a left hook to the body and a left hook to the chin and put him out. Like out cold, and I couldn't believe it. And I ran. Here it is right here. I ran out of the house. Watch this. Boom.
So the
out cold.
The one with the black shorts is your guy, right?
The guy down is my guy.
Okay.
So I misremembered it. It wasn't a left hook to the body. It was like he goes with a right hand and then a left hook behind it. But he KO'd Donald Curry, and I couldn't believe it. And so I put on my running shoes. I couldn't stay home. I just couldn't deal with it. Wow. And I went running in the snow. And I ran. No, it wasn't in the snow. I'm thinking of another story. It was another time when someone lost. I went running in the snow. I don't think it was in the snow. I think it was warm. I don't remember, but I remember I went running. And as I'm running, and I'm running down the road, I'm thinking to myself, I am never going to be this invested in someone else winning or losing ever again.
Right.
Now, how interesting is that? Testosterone going up or down based on if your team wins or not, because that's what's really going on. You don't have to tether it to sports. It's if your team wins or not. So if you're left or right on the political spectrum, and let's just say you are just blue no matter who, red till you're dead, whatever, those are your teams. So now you have to really think. When you see people, when you're let's just say you're someone who's invested in Trump and you're talking to somebody who is invested in Biden, right? And you're looking at them and you're saying, are you crazy? The guy can't think. Like how are you on that side? And they're looking at you like, how are you on that side? It's because it's not just you thinking this guy's good because of this policy and that policy and this policy and that policy and this. You're not, it's barely that. Next time you're at a rally, even turn to somebody and be like, hey, what are his policies? You're going to find a lot of blank stares. So it's not just that they're linked to. It's barely that they're linked to when it comes to politics. They're linked to the person. They're linked to the team. And they're not just linked to it in terms of a like. It's a biological link to their testosterone in men. And if you know what testosterone is, that is the feel good. That is the feel good hormone. That is the thing that pumps, that gets you building muscle, that gets you feeling ambitious, that gets you feeling drive, that gets you driven, that makes you push through walls and obstacles. That is the man hormone. So when you threaten somebody's political leaning, when you show that you're standing on the opposite side, you're not just standing on the opposite side of Trump or the right. You're standing on the opposite side of them in their drive, their bio, like something in them. It's no longer just a like. It's not even in the mind. It's in the nervous system. It's in the body. So that's how things like that happen. I mean, think about it. You know, whether you believe what happened at the Capitol was completely influenced by outside sources other than Trump. However you believe it started, there were some people there who did exactly what Joe did. They saw that their team lost, their guy got knocked out with a left hook or a right hook and was down for the count, and they went, oh my God. And they did exactly what Joe did, and they ran in the snow. They had to go and run. They had to go and do something. They were just like Gad Saad, I'm going to have a heart attack. This is too much for me to bear. And they had to work out that energy. Really interesting. And then the other part of in a fight, the winner's testosterone goes up. The loser's goes down. That's very interesting as well. Very interesting. So it's almost like these systems, this political system, it didn't just get worked out like, let's divide and conquer. It's also people are willing to fight for this. It's almost like they knew to separate it into two, not four, not six. Because how many sports work that way? How many sports work where it's just like 6 teams all going at each other at once? It's not really like that. It's always 2. 2 meet in the Coliseum. 2 meet on the field. 2 meet on the court. And then everybody rallies behind those 2. Always. It's like they knew to do it that way. Because that was what was going to get you the most connected to these people. You know, I say all the time when it comes to politics, if everybody could step back and say, well, I'm not really on your side and I'm not really on your side. I just like to hear what both of you have to say in terms of what affects me most in the country, and I'll make my decision based on that. If everybody could just step back and do that and just leave the politicians where they should be, unbacked by thousands and thousands of people, just standing on their own. Let's hear your policies. Okay. And just sit there. Imagine everybody just did that. Oh, just take notes. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. And you're promising you're going to do that? Huh. Are you going to do what he says he's going to do? Oh, so you're also on board with that. Okay. Imagine if we did that. It would be a whole different system. It would have to be. But it's like they knew. They knew. Interesting. It's almost like they come from the people who ran the Colosseum. You know, Rome. You know, people always say like America, the American Empire that exists right now is like, it's like the Roman Empire. Like the Roman Empire just changed into the American Empire almost. And it's like they knew to have some kind of Colosseum, and it goes past just sports. And it's actually the political realm. That's the real Colosseum. Congress, Senate, the rallies. That's the real Colosseum now. The debates. I want to see that guy who can't even think and doesn't know what day it is. I want to see him sit down with RFK Jr. I want to see RFK slaughter that man. You know what I mean? It's very, very interesting. So think about that next time. The next time you're having a back and forth with somebody and it's getting where it always gets, unless you really love each other and you can really, remember that as you're having your dispute, as you're having your debate. Remember, when they get riled up, that it's not just that they're getting riled up for their team. They're connected to it on a biological level. And so are you. So when you feel a little too riled up, you feel a little too connected, remember, you've sacrificed something. You've attached yourself to this side. And is that really the wisest thing for you to do? Is that really in your best interest as a person? To take the most vital hormone as a man, you take your most vital hormone and connect it to this team. Is that the smartest thing for you to do? Or maybe you need to do what Joe did. You need to take a run in the snow and just calm the F down. I don't know. I don't know. Very interesting. I'm going to remember that next time, because I've had those back and forth with people, and you do find your heart rate going up and all these things. And it's like, if you could just remove yourself from that, just be like, you know, I'm not invested to that extent. If you could just not be invested to that extent, you'll be able to see clearer. You'll be able to make clear decisions. And also, you'll be able to come together. And I think that's the most important thing. Anyways, guys, like the video. It helps so much. You have no idea. Boosts us out of the shadow realm. Please, it's down here somewhere. Click that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't already. And other than that, I am out. Episode 476. Let's go.